Live and alert on the north side of the dirt. It is your man D Real coming at you with another Be Real with D Real, where edutainment is what I do. Now, today I am definitely going to be doing some edutaining because I'm going to be referencing and talking about one of, I wouldn't necessarily say he's one of my favorite artists, but well, not artist, he's a writer. He isn't one of my favorite writers, but he did write one of my favorite stories of all time. So Chillmonger, he is definitely invited to the picnic as far as I'm concerned. Who am I talking about? This guy right here. Who is that portly looking man, you might ask? And what is so significant about him that D-Real has to put him on his show? Well, hang on a second. Before I tell you, I need you to do what you always do for me. Comment, like, subscribe, and share the Be Real with D-Real page so that when new material comes out, you get first crack at it like this right here. If you're digging what a brother's shoveling, put some dirt in my bucket. That's how we grow. Comment, like, subscribe, own, share. Don McGregor, ladies and gentlemen. That is the legendary Don McGregor. And what is Don McGregor most famous for? Well, when I started doing research, I found out that Don McGregor was famous for a couple of things. First and foremost, or at least in my life, Don McGregor is responsible for writing the story Panther's Rage. Panther's Rage is a story, of course, about the Black Panther, it was a story that ran from issue 6 of Jungle Action to about issue 24. Jungle Action, the first issues of Jungle Action used to be, it was actually a holdover from the 1950s Atlas Comics days, where they printed literally jungle adventures that were filled with knockoff Tarzans and knockoff Khazars and knockoff Sheenas of the jungle. So the Black Panther was probably the best thing that ever happened to Jungle Action. But like I said, Don McGregor weaved a super intricate story. It was told from dual perspectives. It was told from the perspective of Wakandans. It was told from the perspective of Killmonger, who made his debut in Jungle Action. It was told from the perspective of the women who loved T'Challa, as well as the women who hated T'Challa. And of course, the story is told from the perspective of T'Challa himself. It's a really layered story, and it is a beautiful looking story. It is beautifully drawn. It is a collaborative drawing effort by Klaus Janson, who we know went on later on to do lots of fantastic art, including the Elektra and Bullseye run on Daredevil. Rich Buckler, who did fantastic work on the Fantastic Four in the 80s, no pun intended. And of course, the amazing artwork done mainly by my man, Billy Graham, who happens to be, which was very rare in the 70s. I think him and Trevor Von Eaton, who did Black Lightning, were, I think, of some of the few artists in the 70s of color that were doing stuff. Drawing, that is. There were Black writers, but not so many Black artists, because Dwayne McDuffie, rest in peace, was around at that time too. What else is Don McGregor famous for? Well, after his run on Black Panther, which ran from 1974 to 1976, I believe, he did a run on a comic book called Amazing Adventures. And Amazing Adventures included a character by the name of Jonathan Raven, but he was also known by another name. That's right, Killraven, the Martian slaying gladiator who ran through Amazing Adventures comic book in the mid-70s. He made this character also, as well as the character of Mashula and the character of, oh my goodness, what's her name? Here, I gonna have to cheat and look it up. Her name was, goodness, good God, I was just looking at it. Anyway, Mashula and this young lady, I don't see her name anywhere in this material, but she was a Caucasian woman. Mashula was a Black man. And as far as we know, Camila, I believe was her name, they shared the first interracial kiss in comics. Top that, Kirk and Uhura. Anywho's though, Amazing Adventures ran for a little while, and Killraven was basically, he went from gladiator to rebel because the Martians had invaded Earth, kind of H.G. Wells War of the Worlds style, and that's what the comic was called, Killraven, Warrior of the Worlds, and they basically just kind of took over and turned humans into slaves, wiped out all the superheroes, you know what I'm saying? And that was a storyline that a potential 616 future that took place in Jim Valentino's run on Guardians of the Galaxy in the 90s. So that's Don McGregor's influence. Don McGregor briefly left Marvel Comics and went to work for Eclipse Comics. And while he was at Eclipse Comics, he created a character by the name of Saber. Tell me, my man, don't look like Black Dynamite. Saber was a character that was created by Don McGregor and illustrated by Paul Gulacy. And Saber is one of the first graphic novels, came out in 1976. There were graphic novels out at that time, and I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that Saber is the first ever graphic novel. I would say, if I had to take a guess, I would say that honor goes to Bloodmark, which was done by Archie Goodwin and Jim Shooter, I want to say. You can look that up. You can check me on it if you want to. But I believe Bloodmark was sort of a John Carter, Warlord of Mars type story, something like that. But that, I think, is what was coined the very first graphic novel. But as we know, amazing graphic novels came out in the 70s and 80s. The Death of Captain Marvel, Mouse. I can go on and on. I like graphic novels as long as it's a good read and you can, everything gets concluded right there on the spot. But in a nutshell, I could go on and on, but Don McGregor just seems to care about making sure there are some Black people in his comics. And for that, Mr. McGregor, salute. Yo, have y'all ever checked out any Don McGregor stuff? What Don McGregor stuff do you like the most? Is it Panther's Rage? Is it Amazing Adventures? Is it Saber? Is it some of his earlier work in horror comics? Drop it in the comments. And as always, I'll be coming at you with another one of them other ones. And until I do, y'all be good. Good to each other.